Everybody, back in the kitchen with Amanda Cupcake, and we are making cake pops, which are still really on trend. You see these a lot, you know, at restaurants sometimes, and you'll see them at a lot of the, parties that you go to. I've only made them with you. I have not ventured into cake pops, but you say they're not all that hard to do.
Well, they definitely are a science, and you have to practice and kind of know the little secrets to making them. So I'll share some of those with you
I
today.
would like that. I would like that. And also, we're not only going to make cake pops, we're going to make watermelon cake pops. So they're perfect for your summer parties, your summer barbecue. Watermelon flavor, and they look like cute little watermelons instead of round. They're more watermelon shaped. And it starts with, this is optional, and you might have a little bit of trouble finding this, but you were able to find a watermelon cupcake mix, which they're coming out with all these different flavors.
Right.
And so this has got all the watermelon flavor in there, and you just baked it according to package directions, jazzed it up a little bit more, right? One extra egg and...
Yeah, I have 4 eggs, and then I used, in my case, you can make it adult if you want to, and I add a little bit more watermelon flavor, and I used watermelon pucker in it in place of the water.
Okay.
That recipe is on your website.
Okay,
so.
But that's optional if you wanted to keep this kid-friendly. Again, you can just use the watermelon cake mix. If you can't get your hands on a watermelon cake mix, because these might be a little bit hard to find this summer, what was your suggestions for that?
You can use a white cake mix and then use like a watermelon extract. You can probably find that online, honestly. That would probably be the best place to find that. And then color the white cake mix pink, and when you're mixing the cake pops, add mini chocolate chips in it. Okay. And those will be the watermelon seeds.
I like that. Okay. So we just baked up our box cake mix in cupcakes, and I get to go, cake pops, basically they're smooshed up cake with frosting, and then they look like little lollipops on a stick, but really it's cake and frosting crumbs together. So you do it by hand. You now just informed me that we could do this in the food processor, and it'd probably be a lot easier, but you get to make me do it by hand. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
That's how I do it. I do it by hand. Just because I feel like you put more love into it when you do it by hand.
Well, I have to tell you, this would be fun to do with the kids, because how often do they actually get to get their fingers in here? So clean hands.
It's like Play-Doh.
Yeah, and we're just mushing this up, right?
And then you want to add, I have this buttercream frosting with a little bit of the watermelon pucker added to it for a little boost of flavor. Okay, so I get to now smush the frosting in with the cake. And you add a little bit at a time, and you want to get to the texture of like a Play-Doh. Okay. And it takes some time for sure to get to that texture, but you want it to be sticky, not too gooey or melty.
Let me tell you. Ann, you want to come over and take over this from me? She's like, no way. Okay, so what are we're just looking forward to really smush together.
Yep, smush it together, and then you form a ball. Okay. Like an oblong. I have like an example here of, you make like a shape like a watermelon.
It actually goes together pretty easily.
Yep.
So something like that?
Yep. And then you just make like an oblong shape, and it ends up looking like this. Okay. When you roll it.
Why is yours darker? Did you use a darker frosting?
I think it got darker over time.
Okay. Okay.
The longer it sits, the more the color saturates it.
Okay.
That's the only difference.
Okay. All right. So there you go. Those are my little watermelon guys. All right. Now we're going to dip them.
Yeah. So we have this darker green color. It's a candy melt. You can actually buy packs of candy melts at craft stores in the cake decorating aisle. Okay. And you want to melt it in the microwave like in 35-second increments until it gets like this.
Pretty.
And you want to put it in a deep enough bowl that's microwave proof, like this. And then you want to refrigerate these on parchment paper.
Don't mind me. Keep going. I'm going to wash my hands.
So you want to refrigerate these on parchment paper probably for a couple hours just to make sure they firm up, because otherwise the cake pops will fall off the sticks, and that's sad. So I've let these sit in the fridge for a couple hours. Okay. So
before you start dipping. So.
Yep.
Or could you do it like the day before?
Yep, you could do it the day before and just let them sit in the fridge covered.
Okay, I think I'm pretty clean.
And then you kind of dip it in there, but you don't mush it against the side of the bowl. You just kind of let it kind of dip into the pool. And like that.
So you didn't have to color that green at all? Those discs came that color?
Actually, what I did is you can buy green candy melts. Okay. I bought white, and I tinted it green. Okay. With like a candy color. Okay. And you can buy that too, like at different cake supply stores. And it's candy color. It's oil based, so it's really important that you don't use real food color, actual food color in these, because it'll just make it super hard to work with.
Got it. And these look beautiful. So then, and once you've dipped, which, do you trust me with dipping? Can I dip this one?
Sure, definitely. Go for it.
And then you notice, did you talk about putting a little dot on the end here?
Oh,
did
yeah,
you mention
I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
Yeah, so what you do is you take the cake pop stick and you dip it partially into the melted candy melts, and then you dip it all the way to the bottom of your cake pop that's sitting on the parchment paper and let it sit. And that glues it onto the cake pop so that it doesn't fall off the stick when you dip.
I love this dips really easily, and
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, it's very forgiving. Okay, that I can handle.
And if it's too thick, you can always add these things called Paramount Crystals, and they're like an oil, and they add an oil so that it thins out the candy melts, because a lot of people complain that it gets too thick.
Okay, all
right. So that helps.
All right, so these are all dipped. We're going to let them dry, and then to make the watermelon lines, like on a watermelon.
Yeah, so I have another color of green, and I just put like a couple of dots in there to make it like a light green.
Okay.
And I filled this disposable piping bag with the light green, and it looks like it already dried. In that case, I have an emergency thing here.
That's all right.
You can actually use a toothpick too. And just go on. And it doesn't have to be clean because a watermelon isn't.
Right. It's not perfect. And then we put, of course, some little sprinkles on there because everything's about sprinkles.
Yep.
So here they are already done. They look so cool. You can buy these stands. I imagine these cake pop stands. Super cute. Amanda, thank you so much for sharing.
You.
And you want to get a hold of Amanda, the best place to find her is on Facebook. Just put in Amanda Cupcake and you can order her cupcakes, also available at Woodman's. So we'll be back. Stay with us.